My name is Michaela, aka Kayla, and welcome back to my channel, Kayla Discusses, where I do deep dives and commentary on all sorts of issues. Welcome back to episode 1, part 2 of the Tyla deep dive. This is the first episode of my series, Meet the Music Industry, and in part 1 of Tyla's deep dive, we talked about her identity. And in this episode, we will be exploring the diaspora. If you have not watched part 1, I highly recommend you do because it will give you a lot more context to what I'm about to talk about in this episode. But let's jump right into it. There is this critique that I hear that Tyla only markets herself to Black Americans.
My thing is, if Tyla doesn't rebrand soon, she will not last in the music industry. The whole I'm just a South African girl who loves to make music within a culture I know nothing about is not going to last. She doesn't have the versatility, she doesn't have the vocal range, nor does she have the catalog to sustain likability. She's already on people's shit list because of the way she's presenting herself. She's trying to distance herself so far from the Black community. It's starting to make her look crazy. It's starting to make her look very disingenuous. Like it's not panning out for her. If her team doesn't get a hold of this, and I mean quickly, she's just not gonna last. Definitely not with us. So she needs to pivot or rebrand or do something different because she looks crazy. I don't know how that's it. She just looks crazy as hell. You can't tell me that you don't know nothing about the culture you're singing in.
On Tyla's social media, there are videos where she has been performing and attending music events internationally throughout mid-late 2022 and early to mid-2023. She's been in Africa in places like South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, Rwanda, etc. I'm still tryna decide. Should I drink up, smoke up, need some freedom, in my life. She's been in Europe in places like Greece, London, Denmark, Switzerland, etc.
Hello, it is Tyla again, and this time I'm performing for a TikTok event in Cannes, France. This is literally my first time in Cannes, and it was so beautiful. This is me doing a sound check, and then we went to the Carlton Hotel to go get ready. But before we got ready, we had a whole dinner. I look so lost here, but yeah, it was so pretty. And this is me getting ready and checking how thick I am.
All the way from South Africa, make some noise for Tyla!
So this is me flying from South Africa to Milan, Italy. It was so beautiful, my first time there. Straight away we landed, we went to the Dolce & Gabbana headquarters where they showed us the jewelry and the shoes and the dress that I was wearing for the runway show. Tyla again, but this time in Denmark. We were at Rumors Club. I was spreading the rumors. Look how much fun we had, guys. It was literally the best experience ever. So this is me leaving the stage as usual. I look
She
very
was
lost.
also an opening act for Chris Brown's Under the Influence European tour. She also performed on the Bianca show, which is in Sweden.
And I heard that she was like, "Hello, my name is Kim." Yeah, she introduced herself like we don't know that she's Kim.
Then, when Water blew up in 2023, she came and performed in the US. Her first performance was on the Jimmy Fallon show where she performed Water. She has then performed in places like New York, etc. She also performed art on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Tyla also toured throughout Asia in 2024. She visited Indonesia, Japan, and South Korea. Tyla also performed in Brazil and appeared on the Domingo talk show.
Pra correr atrás do sonho dela. Ela não só conquistou, como ganhou o mundo com a música dela.
Yeah, I was able to prove them that I could do it, and now I'm here in Brazil.
In this year, Tyla had a meet and greet in the UK, then later a meet and greet in South Africa in her hometown Johannesburg, as well as pop-ups in Asia in Tokyo, Japan, and Seoul, South Korea. Tyla also had a fan greeting in Brazil, where she danced and sang with her fellow Tigers. Tyla is aiming for international stardom. She said herself she wants to become the biggest pop star ever.
Years and years to come. I want to bring the world the first African pop star. Just always, when I was younger, I always wanted to see like a pop star from South Africa amongst the Rihannas and the Britney Spears, the Michael Jacksons, you know, like I always wanted to see someone from where I was from there. So that's basically my goal. I really want to be the biggest pop star. And I just remember being so small and telling my whole family that I'm going to become the biggest pop star ever. And it's never changed. Like, even till this day, I'm telling everyone I'm going to become the biggest pop star ever.
She markets herself globally, not just to Black Americans. Some say that because Tyla collaborates with Black American artists, it means she's only marketing herself towards Black Americans. Tyla has collaborated with a multitude of people of different cultures. She's collabed with Summer Walker, Iris Star, Becky G, Ghana, Thames, Cool Drink, DJ Maforiza, Skilly Bane, Travis Scott, Calvin Momo, etc. She's also rumored to have upcoming collabs with Sabrina Carpenter and Lalisa, although they're just rumors. Tyla is also inspired by a lot of Black American artists, especially artists from the 90s and 2000s. In an interview with Hollywood Zay, she said this.
Hip hop and R&B is a huge part of my culture at home. Absolutely. As well, because I mean, huge part of our culture is hip hop and R&B. and I grew up around it. My parents, like, that was our wake up call. R&B and hip hop would blast in the house when we had get-togethers. Blast.
One of the reoccurring critiques I hear is this: why was Tyla nominated for the BET Awards if she said that she's not black? People of all races are nominated and invited to the BET Awards. There are white people who have been nominated for BET Awards: Sam Smith, Iggy Azalea, Eminem, Jack Harlow, etc. The purpose of the BET Awards is not that only black people get awards. The goal is to be more inclusive of minorities, not exclusive. Other critiques that I've heard is Tyla is not an African woman and should not represent Africa because she's not black. The fact that there were some people who said something along the lines of this is actually baffling. Tyla is an African woman because she was born and raised in South Africa. Africa is a continent, not a race. Africa is diverse with people of many races. We experience colonization and slavery too. Another argument I hear is Tyla is in the US, therefore she must abide by their racial classification. There was a South African TikToker that made a very good argument with regards to this. I unfortunately couldn't find the video. So because kangaroos don't exist in South Africa, when a kangaroo comes to South Africa, it is no longer a kangaroo. It is now a big rabbit. Another example of this is because Xhosa people don't exist in Europe. When a Xhosa person goes to Europe, they are no longer Xhosa. Do you understand how stupid that logic sounds? Tyla is a foreigner and therefore will not abide by the US racial classifications because she was not born and raised in the US. Tyla as a person screams South African and screams colored. Her accents, her mannerisms, her verbiage, her music, and her dancing. I have no idea why people think she's pandering to black Americans when everything she represents is South African.
Or how she presents to say she's using Black American culture. What is it, the braids? Like, I really want so badly to encourage people to travel, because not only is it an experience that will enrich your lives, but it will also broaden your understanding of the world. A lot of the ways in which we receive and understand the world is through our own personal experiences, because we are the center of our own world. So if you are an American, America is the center of your world. However, America is not the center of the world, and that is the biggest difference. When you travel more, you will understand this. When you get to know other people's cultures and how they present, and even different aesthetics and subcultures in different countries, you will realize that maybe what you ascribe to your own personal culture in this particular case, Black culture, is not exclusive to Black Americans and Black culture. So again, going back to Tyla's aesthetics and the way she presents herself, what is it, the braids? Because again, Tyla is a South African woman, and we constantly see her in cornrows. Go check her Instagram. Baby girl been in cornrows. She's been in cornrows before she became mainstream and crossed over to American culture. Is it the gem in her tooth? Because I was in South Africa last month and I saw a lot of people with not only gems in their teeth, but gold teeth, to the point that I was like, maybe am I missing something? Do I need to come back? And when I get back home, I need to put a gem in my tooth. Like, I thought it was wavy. I loved it. But if you are only experiencing gems in teeth, gold teeth, grills, if your only understanding of it is American culture, specifically Black American culture, it is easy to look at her and be like, oh, she's using Black culture, she's appropriating Black American culture, when that's not the case. It's just you have no understanding of cultures outside of your own. Is it the artist she's collaborating with? You know, Black American rappers, Gunna and Travis Scott? Well, she also collabs with Thames and Ira Star, who are Afrobeats artists. So now is she using Nigerian culture? Is she using Afrobeats to be a part of Nigerian culture? She also collaborated with Becky G. Is she using a Latina woman to try to appropriate or use Latin culture? What are we talking about here? Is it the water dance, which many Americans would automatically receive as twerking? However, it is actually a dance of South African origin, the Barkhadi dance. When she was on the Kai Cenat show and she was trying to teach him how to do the dance, and then when she gets to that part where you're pouring the water and doing the Barkhadi dance, what she said was, okay, now you twerk, because she understood she was speaking to an American audience, and the way they would understand what she was trying to say is to refer to it as a twerking dance. And while twerking is associated with Black American culture, hip hop culture, dancing culture, it is actually a dance of the African diaspora that originated in Africa. So again, this comment that I'm responding to, it's not new. I've seen it, a lot of people say she is using Black American culture. No one has expressed how. So how is Tyla using Black American culture? How?
I do understand that cultural appropriation is a big issue in the US, so I understand why some would be weary. But I believe that cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation are often confused. Cultural appropriation involves insensitive and uneducated taking of cultural elements. Cultural appreciation involves respectful engagement and an effort to learn. This leads to cross cultural understanding. Not everyone who participates in a culture is doing it with the intention of being disrespectful. Some people genuinely admire, respect, and are interested in it. If cultures are not shared, it will eventually die out. If people are respectful towards the culture, it should not be a problem if they choose to participate in it. Cultural appropriation is not as common in South Africa from what I've seen. In South Africa, we share our cultures with one another because we appreciate the diversity in our country. For example, people of all races in South Africa listen to amapiano and participate in the dance trends: black, colored, Indian, and white. There are people who say that Tyla appropriates black hairstyles. In South Africa, both colored and black people wear afros, braids, cornrows, etc. because a lot of colored people also have textured hair. We have black descent, and it's Africa. Where do you think these hairstyles came from? A lot of people also say that Tyla is encouraging other people to appropriate South African culture. Tyla is simply being authentic to her roots as a South African. She is allowed to share her culture from her country with the world. It is not her fault if certain people decide to appropriate the culture. Those individuals who do that must be held accountable for it, not her. She always gives credit to South Africa.
Growing up in Johannesburg gave me my edge. Amapiano is growing. I'm so proud. We are just being from South Africa is just a flex. The dance style, the facial expressions, like everything that is Tyla comes from Johannesburg and South Africa.
I guess critics saying that you're like the face of Amapiano music or South African music, and I feel like that might be a lot of pressure, but you seem to be handling it really well.
I mean, I don't even like saying, oh, I'm the face of this. You know, I don't really see it like that. I really see it as me being one of the artists, one of the African artists that is pushing it further and further, because we all are really doing it right now, you know. Just the response that we're getting, the music is really traveling now, so I'm happy to be.
Hello, my name is Tyla. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa, and I'm going to the top. Everybody knows I love my home. I love South Africa. I love South African music. I'm heavily influenced by amapiano music, so it's a huge part of me as an artist. It's a very spiritual sound. It's not just a genre for us back home, you know. It's something that we feel. And not only the music, also the dancing that comes with it, just the culture in general. Next, pretty large. This, guys. This is what we call maize meal. So in South Africa, we use this to make pap. Pap is like this and hot water, some salts. It's a workout to make, like, it's a workout for real. You have to taste it though, it's really good. Just put that there.
Be from America. I always was like, oh, I wish I was born in America, just because I used to watch so many YouTube videos of people in America. But as I grew up, I realized like how amazing my childhood was in South Africa, like the culture, the people, the music, the vibe. So yeah, growing up in South Africa was like the best childhood, and I wouldn't change it for anything. It's very different. Firstly, parties. In America, people don't really dance at parties. Like they dance, but in South Africa, we dance like circles. Literally everybody in South Africa can dance.
Yeah, and growing up in Joburg, hey! Yo, South Africa, it's very vibrant, a lot of energy. Music literally is in our blood. Dance and music, it's what we live for, you know, and yeah, like people start making music from young ages, like there's 14-year-olds making music, and yeah, everything that's happening with Amapiano is so exciting because it's finally a genre for South Africa that has traveled so far and become so huge.
Yeah, just thank you to everyone who cares to learn about other cultures, other styles of music, and truly appreciates it and loves it for what it is, because it's not just a trend, it's not just a dance move, it's not just hey, it's not just a sound, you know, like it's culture, you know. So I just thank everyone that is.
An example of this is the Bacardi dance. When people called it twerking, she would always correct them.
Not approach it like twerking. It's not twerking. It's Bacardi. So search Bacardi videos and you'll get.
How did you come up with the dance? Like, what's the story behind the dance?
So Bacardi dancing, that's a dance style in South Africa. And a lot of people confuse it with twerking, but it's not really. So I can understand why people are struggling a little bit. What's a challenge is Bacardi is a dance style from South Africa. I ended up working with my choreographer. He came up with the challenge. The dance style is Bacardi. It's a style in South Africa. And it's usually not done with this type of music. First of all, I love Bacardi. I just really love bringing South African dancing to my performances, like all of them, as much as I can.
Tyla is not appropriating Black American culture. She's also not appropriating South African culture, because she can't appropriate a culture she belongs to. I do understand that the term colored is a derogatory term used in the Jim Crow era in the US, but that doesn't mean Tyla is wrong for calling herself colored. This is what we call homophones, words that sound the same but have different spelling and different meanings. If Tyla went around calling Black Americans colored, then I would understand why people are upset. But Tyla used the word in an entirely different context. The N-word was an offensive and derogatory word used around the globe towards Black people. However, when Black Americans decided to de-empower the word and use it as a part of their culture, everyone respected it. That's the same thing with the word colored. Although it is considered derogatory in some countries, colored people in Southern Africa decided to use that word to describe and celebrate themselves, and it should also be respected. It's not fair to expect Southern Africans to respect US history if some Americans are not willing to respect Southern African history. Some Black Americans were upset that she would not explain her racial identity on the Breakfast Club. However, when she or other South Africans tried to explain it before, it also upset people. It is clearly a losing game either way. Colored people have been defending their identity for quite some time on social media.
Girl, I don't know what to tell you. That is our race. That is the racial category I fall under in South Africa. So I'm using my race and my ethnicity. And if it sounds crazy, I don't know what to tell you.
You hear about the difference between the blacks and the coloreds. I said, well, let me help you out with that. You come to America, your ass is black. You can call them coloreds over here if you want to, and you can call them black. But you come to the United States, your ass is finna be black. So you sure you want to come over?
Please, I'm a star! Murder me like you murdered my mother! Stop that! God, murder me!
I've been getting so much backlash, hateful comments on my Colored Swirl Coast video from all these American people. Now, I thought let me respond to let you guys know, my fellow American people, this video was not meant for you. I didn't ask for the video to go viral like that, But I was speaking to my fellow South African people. We understand the term colored people here in South Africa because in South Africa you find white people, black people, Asian people, and then you find colored people like myself. I'm a proud colored, and I was speaking to my fellow South African colored people because that's how we silk press our hair. Now you guys just come onto my video and comment whatever the hell you want to comment just because you don't educate yourself about what's happening in South Africa or what cultures we have in South Africa, thinking that the world only revolves around the US and the UK. Why don't you go and educate yourself? And I really hope that all you American people see this video and understand that in South Africa, we have colored people. It's an actual tribe. Yeah, it is an actual race, and I'm a proud colored.
It's Heritage Day, they say, costume day, actually. Every race puts on their best dress, and my race has always loved inclusiveness, so my sisters put white dots on their faces, and those kids at school wear their gowns and swole coats, and we strike our best pose, while everyone wants to know, what will the coloreds wear? Like 4 gents sitting at the dance table, my words sit on my tongue, ready to shout, oh clunk, we have a heritage. Without having to explain what it is, I put on my crown with the 4 jewels, the sand, the kuku, the nama, and the griqua. My tongue will hit my palate like a dams hits the table for a milo when I say Tse kuhari, Tse kuhari. Then I will put on my gown of many colors, wrapped with my belt that only goes into the Afrikaans hole. And the soles of my feet will be engraved in the grounds of the ghetto streets. I will paint my face with the blood of all my brothers and sisters who has died for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I will place in my hand the bow and arrow, pull back my true inheritance and launch crime and alcoholism in the backyard of the colonizer. I will bribe the meat the colonizer tried to keep from me, and when they paid the dentistry industry to forcefully remove my front teeth, so much so that my own people passionately put that gap between their own teeth now, I will put on the breastplate of authority so that when government stands on me, I will not shout, I can't breathe, but I will get up and give every intruder a moose clap. You see, I could have said all of this, but instead, I don't answer them. I let them continue to say that I have no culture and no heritage. So I write this poem to every brown king and queen, so that they can remember that Ubuntu rests on our shoulders. We offered up humanity to others just for them to turn around and say that we are not their sisters and their brothers. So my sisters and my brothers, remember this. We are a rainbow of colors. Without us, they are just shades of who we really are. So, happy Heritage Day, everyone. No attack on anyone, just, I feel like I have a deep, deep passion for representing my people and ensuring that I let us know that swirls and gowns, yes, it is part of our culture, but we do have a heritage. And it's rich. It's filled with stories. May we continue to tell these stories of our forefathers, of the caves, of the injustices that was done to our people, how even with regards to me speaking about the front teeth and how dentistry, like it is believed that that was also a form of removing our language from us, stripping us of our identity and our history and our stories. And it's sad that I see it starting to win because like our people genuinely don't know their true history, and like our parents aren't telling the stories of our people. And the fact that even colored people fought for our freedom, that colored people matters. And it's so weird that there's this thing going around where this girl is saying that, you know, denying us as colored people in America, and although she's not educated enough, it has been happening in our own country. People invalidating our experiences, invalidating our stories, invalidating the color of our skins, and just like kind of telling us who we are, and we never get to say who we are and speak up for ourselves. So I think if I can, I will be the one to speak up.
The Nile is a river in Egypt, which is located in the African continent. You're welcome for that education, by the way. And stupidity is a country in North America that was discovered. Yeah. Being colored is a race and ethnicity in South Africa. South Africa. It's in the African continent. Like you are so once again, like the American mind. The one-drop rule doesn't work in this continent or in this country. This is South Africa, located in the African continent. Your master's one-drop rule doesn't work here. I told you this before, and still you're still talking this gibberish, this that you wrote over here. You're still writing it. We told you many times that in South Africa, People who are of mixed ethnicities are called colored. They are classified as colored. In South Africa, we have black, colored, white, Indian, and other. Other are for the Asians. That's how it's classified. So I do also like
Even when South Africans try to correct those who invalidate the colored identity, these people will literally argue and tell South Africans that they are wrong about their own racial classifications. Why must mixed people, in general, always defend their identity? Why do some monoracial people keep trying to force them into racial boxes that they don't fit into? Some Black Americans are upset that Tyla gains more success than other Black American artists. Yet, they are the same people who don't support or degrade those artists. No one in Europe or Africa became upset about Tyla's identity, despite the fact that in some European countries it is also a derogatory word. I understand that Black Americans experience a lot of oppression in the US. They go through a lot of trauma and challenging situations. I'm not trying to invalidate their experiences, but I do feel that their anger is misplaced. They are allowed to be upset about the injustices they face, but it's not fair to project it on people who have nothing to do with their trauma. Some are willing to drag and cancel some people that do not actually participate in cultural appropriation, racism, or colorism, but yet those who do perpetuate it, they choose to let some of them go scot-free. If a Black American came to South Africa and was told to identify as colored because they are in South Africa, it would not be fair, because it erases the experiences and the history that comes with being Black American. In the same fashion, it's unfair to do that to Tyla, because it erases the experiences and history that comes with being colored. I believe there was xenophobia displayed from some South Africans and some Black Americans towards one another. I will have to call out some South Africans for generalizing Black Americans and using these situations to be racist and xenophobic towards them. But simultaneously, I will have to call out the other side too. There were some Black Americans who said that because Tyla was colored or didn't identify as Black, they would not support her. Not supporting someone or hating someone because of their race is racist. I don't understand the narrative that if someone is not your race, you should not support them. Because I'm colored and Taylor Swift is white, I shouldn't support her. This narrative only causes further division between different races. The rest of the world has been supporting US artists for decades, but when it's our turn to receive support for our artists, it's a problem. On top of that, some people said that Tyla should go back to her country if she wants to be called colored. Obviously, this statement is xenophobic. It's the fact that some people in the US want their racial and gender identities to be respected, yet they cannot offer the same to a foreigner. Some even went as far as insulting South Africans and Africans. This is also afrophobic.
Controversial opinion and shit, but honestly, go ahead and take Tyla back. Take her back. You know, just make her African, Africa famous. You know what I'm saying? Go back to South Africa, be South Africa famous. You know, like I'm tired of hearing about her and like in American culture and music. I'm so over it. I'm over it. Take her ass back. Take her ass back, please. There's enough of y'all out there to support her and let her live divinely. Go over there. Go back. I don't want to see her in no American media no more.
Part of the group, and it's part of this South African bullshit where Black people are put on the lowest in South Africa. I swear to God, I think South Africa has the worst race bullshit. You might come and attack me, I would attack you back with my ancestors, because that's not true. South Africa is so fucked up. South Africa is so fucked up to a point where white people are saying they're not black. They're saying they're African. White people are saying they're African. You're white, you're saying you're African.
You want us to be aware of an ethnic minority that makes up 8% of a country that is 8 times smaller than ours. So many people, so many colored South Africans are like, Oh, Americans need to pick up a book, get a passport, learn about other cultures, learn how you guys are so uneducated, you don't know about colored people in South Africa. And once again, I'm gonna touch your hands when I say this, South Africans, colored South Africans to be specific. Colored South Africans make up 8% of the entire South African population. So you think that Americans are supposed to be aware of an ethnic minority that makes up 8% of a completely different country on the opposite side of the planet? It's time for this debate to end. And the conclusion is this. Y'all South Africans tried it and you failed. Take that anti-black, colored, white supremacist mentality back to South Africa because we don't want it here. Case closed. It's so funny how y'all are calling Americans entitled because we're asking for some simple respect in our country. I don't know if they have this saying in South Africa, but in the United States, we have a saying. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. And if you can't figure out what that means wherever you are, you got to respect the culture of wherever you're at. Y'all tell us to educate ourselves about colored, but y'all didn't educate yourselves about the history of the word colored in this country, the country that Tyla is trying to do business in, the country that Tyla is trying to get support from to blow up her career, the country whose dollars she wants. She's not checking for your rands. She's checking for our dollars, okay?
And when it comes to Tyla, I just feel like Africa is such a big continent that she should just be there. You ain't even got to expand, baby, because every time you interact with black people, you doing some tweaked out weird elitist type. I don't know how else to phrase it. I ain't never gonna throw the colorist word in there. But who the f is you to where you can't hold your own award? You lucky you got that. It should have been given to the Little Mermaid. Ho! I don't know who the hell you think you is, Tyla, with your colored ass. But you take that colored shit back to South Africa.
The fact that there are some people who threaten to end Tyla's career simply because of her race is disgusting. Tyla was called anti-black and colorist simply because she called herself colored. Some try to use apartheid to justify these claims, but Tyla was born 8 years after it ended. She's done nothing to be associated with that. At the VMAs, Tyla received an award for Best Afrobeat Song. Tyla struggled to carry the award and asked Lil Nas X to hold it for her so that she can do her speech. Tyla then talked about the miscategorization of African artists, grouping them all under Afrobeats. The miscategorization of artists at award shows is not just a problem for African artists, but also Black American artists who also get miscategorized under R&B and hip-hop.
You guys know me, I'm holding awards. I'm not strong enough. Please. Whatever over me. Yes, thank you, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Firstly, thank you. Thank you, my Tigers. Thank you, MTV, my team, God, everyone. This is such a big moment for Africa, African music. Like, guys, the global impact that water has had on the world just proves that African music can be pop music too. Like, this is just so special, but also bittersweet, because I know there's a tendency to group all African artists under Afrobeats. It's a thing, and even though Afrobeats has run things and has opened so many doors for us, African music is so diverse. It's more than just Afrobeats. I come from South Africa. I'm a piano. I represent my culture, and I just want to shout out all the Afrobeats artists in this category with me. Shout out Thames, Aerostar, shout out Loj, shout out Rema, Whiskey, Burna Boy, all of us.
But instead of focusing on Tyla's informative speech, the internet decided to focus on the fact that she did not hold the award. Many people felt that Tyla was shading Halle and treating her like the help. Tyla then confirmed on Twitter that she was asking Lil Nas X, and not Halle. After the VMAs, both Halle and Tyla confirmed that there was no beef between them. However, the internet kept beating the dead horse.
You can clearly see from this angle that she was asking Lil Nas and not Hala. Y'all just forcing the hate.
A man by the name of Armand Wiggins then proceeded to call Tyla an entitled, uppity African, which caused an influx of afrophobia across the internet. Some going as far as being racist towards Indians, comparing Tyla to Baljeet from Phineas and Ferb. There are some people from Western countries who look down on African people. They have a certain narrative that all Africans are poor, incompetent, and savages. They expect Africans to be grateful all the time and hang their heads because they think we are inferior to them. But none of these Western countries would be as powerful and wealthy if it wasn't for Africa. They have and continue to use our resources and exploit our people. Without us, there would be nothing.
Tyla being called an entitled or uppity African. The xenophobia has been off the charts this week. Both of them are absolutely insane. However, I want to specifically touch on Tyla being called an uppity or entitled African because the animus people have towards her is very interesting. First of all, we're mad at this girl because she's not black. She's a colored girl from South Africa. She is literally not black. And people are talking about, oh, well, she's in America, we do things differently. That's fine. Like, I really think we need to understand, though, the world does not revolve around America. And yes, the word colored does have this very specific history here, but it doesn't have the same history. It doesn't have the same meaning. It doesn't have to have the same connotation in South Africa. And that is where Tyla is from. And so for the same person who called her an entitled or uppity African to say it's as if she does not understand American culture, why would she? Again, she's a 23-year-old girl from South Africa. She will figure it out. Okay, she's a budding global artist. She will figure out American culture. And we get all of this. We get entitled or uppity African because she hands someone her VMA. She wants somebody to hold her VMA for her as she's giving a speech. I looked up how much a VMA weighs. It weighs a little over 6.5 pounds. And for people saying, oh, well, she can hold her Grammy just fine. A Grammy only weighs a little over 5 pounds, okay? So does she need to get in the gym? Absolutely. Tyla, you need to get in the gym, girl. You need to be able to hold a good 6.5 pounds. But to get entitled or uppity African from that act alone, people are just looking for a reason. As I think about this claim that she is an entitled or uppity African, it makes me laugh because I think about some of the stories my mom tells me about when she emigrated to America. She was 19 or 20 at the time, and some of the stories she tells me, some people would absolutely think or call my mom the same thing, an entitled or uppity African. But as an Igbo daughter of a chief, ain't nobody telling my mom nothing. Nobody was telling my mom nothing. Very Igbo, very proud, very confident, and dealt with the same thing Tyla is dealing with now. People who were just put off by that confidence, put off by that African essence that my mom carried, and still to this day carries with her. If you don't like Tyla, just say that. Literally, you don't have to default to xenophobia or find stupid reasons to dislike her. But what Tyla's letting y'all know, y'all ain't gonna bully her no more.
I need black Americans to leave Tyla alone. But I'm not even mad because through her, we keep being exposed to the lack of education when it comes to the US. Through her, the bigotry that so many of them hold towards Africans is exposed. And saying exposed is a stretch because I don't even think they were trying to hide it in the first place. But I've never seen a celebrity that they like to pick apart as much as they do with Tyla. Baby girl cannot flip her hair without them saying that it is her shading them. She literally cannot breathe in oxygen without them saying, oh, you're so ungrateful. They feel so entitled to what success she has had that everything she does to them should cater to them. They make it seem like they gave her the career that she gained off of the popularity of her own song, mind you, that was already popping from her home city before TikTok even pushed it to wider ground. And it's honestly so insane because no one should feel that entitled to anyone simply because they supported their music or simply because they liked the music when it was trending. And I love the fact that she went on that stage and called out the generalization of African music as Afrobeat. Because one thing you all like to do is listen to our music. When it comes to learning the distinctions, the differences, the genres of music that comes out of this continent, you all don't that everything is grouped as Afrobeat. And it really shows the lack of education because imagine an Amapiano song winning best Afrobeat video. Where is the research? Where is the reading? Talking about some, oh, she's just an entitled diva. Asking for someone to help her hold her very heavy award, mind you, regardless of whatever it is people want to say. Is her being entitled? And she's so real too because I would not be holding that award if it was me. Who are honoring me. I should not be stressed. And I thought you all wanted divas to come back. Oh, you want divas, but you cannot handle diva behavior. Make it make sense. Talking about some, oh, she's just not likable. Her energy is just negative. I can feel it. You are feeling negative energy from the VMAs all the way from your cockroach-infested apartment that you have not paid the rent of last month for. So don't piss me off. And mind you, expecting women to be likable and humble is misogyny.
Tyla being called an uppity entitled African does not shock me because this is how I get treated as a black South African that goes to American colleges, especially when you're in white-owned spaces, because people want you to make yourself smaller. They want you to shrink yourself, to make yourself very docile and demure so that you don't feel like a threat, so that you don't feel like you're taking up too much space, so that indeed you act like the token that you were meant to be. And when you stop acting like the token that was being saved, but about what? Because what I think is I'm African. People actually get mad. Someone was like, oh, you know, you're not meek like our African kids, which is so funny because my family probably donated to your family by giving you $3 through the UN. Oh, UN 54 rand. 54 rand, how does it feed my family? Like, does that even make sense? Or even when, let's say we're complaining about like something very ordinary, and then people are like, oh, anyway, you shouldn't be complaining. There's no electricity in South Africa. And it's always that when you're very assertive and very assured in what you want, people always resort to reminding you that you come from this place of poverty.
Tyla opened up in her interview with ELLE about how she felt that being African was not accepted in America. She talked about how she would be called derogatory names when she went live on her social media platforms. People went as far as skinny shaming Tyla and calling her a pygmy girl because of the incident.
When Tyla got up on that stage and was like, oh my god, I'm so small, I'm so petite. I'm so small and petite. Can someone hold my award for me? I was like, I'm hoping she wasn't asking the Little Mermaid to hold the award.
Tyla has had trouble carrying her awards throughout the year due to her small frame. Tyla also has a back injury. She's not supposed to carry heavy things.
I'm just telling you guys, off the record, guys, that award is so heavy. I didn't think it was that heavy. So, yeah.
This is also very heavy again.
Ooh, this is very heavy. Can you please hold for me? I'm sorry.
Cardi B then defended Tyla against the bullying she was receiving because of the VMAs.
Tyla wished she never won that VMA award. If she would have known that that VMA award would have brought so much hate, so much criticism, I bet for a fact she'd be crying tonight. Like, the internet is insufferable. The way that you guys take a picture, take a moment, and make it something that is not, and then just crush somebody, and like, y'all criticize so much that y'all not even noticing, like, you're bullying this girl, and if you really think about it, you don't really have reason to. Like, you really, really don't have a reason to, but you making this a reason because you already don't like her for whatever reason. Like, something about her that y'all just probably don't like, and I don't know what it is, but y'all are doing too much, and it's disgusting. First, I seen a video of her asking Lil Nas X. I saw a video of her asking Lil Nas X to hold her an award. And let me tell you something. I have asked other artists to hold my awards for me myself. Because them is the size of a fat baby. Like that, like those awards be so heavy. And then like when you have heels on and you put pressure on top of yourself, it really feels like your leg starts to wobble. Like, no lie, those awards are heavy. Then you gotta worry about doing a speech and looking good while you carrying a 10-pound baby on your hands. So I just don't think that you guys understand how heavy those awards are. And also, I met Tyla in person. I'm 5'3". I'm 5'3", so I'm already like short. She's shorter than me, and no lie, she's shaped really beautifully, but she's very, very skinny like Mariah type of skinny. Like she has to weigh like 109 pounds. So imagine you 109 pounds, gotta carry a 10-pound award with heels. She literally asked Lil Nas X, but y'all trying to make this into like, oh, how rude is she to ask another female artist to hold her award? Like, she's the help. And I love Haley, but she didn't even ask Haley to hold her award. She asked Lil Nas X, a man, to hold it. The thing about her too, that y'all think that she acts really uppity. Let me tell you something. A lot of Caribbean people and a lot of African people, like especially girls, like, all right, so I have an older sister, right? Her name is Nikauli. She's also an artist. Her name is Nikauli. She go by Nikki. And my sister has always been overly confident. And she always been overly confident, over jumpy, over smiley. Like, she's the type. She always been the type of person that is like, if there's like a block party in the street, she's like the one that's gonna get in the middle of the street and dance. She's very happy. She's not shy at all. She's very different from me. She's very different from me. She's very different from Hennessy. She's my father's daughter. And she's from the Dominican Republic. A lot of people from different countries, they are very prideful. They're very happy. They're very jumpy. And I feel like us Americans, like, we just don't be like, we're not really like that. So it's like when somebody's always like so happy, so jumpy, so energetic, and so overly confident, we be like, what's wrong with them? And my sister, she's so overly confident. She's always the life of the party, and also she's very pretty and she has an amazing body. So she always tries to prove to people like she's not easy. Like she likes to prove to people like, hey, no, I'm not like these other girls. I don't get down like that. I'm not a hoe. So sometimes when like y'all see Tyla like trying to prove like, oh no, I'm not dancing next to Usher, blah blah blah. I don't think that she's trying to like act like she's better than people. I honestly feel like sometimes people just, when somebody's so overly confident, they have to also overly prove that they're not easy, because sometimes people really think that about you. And I feel like you guys are being really harsh on this girl. She's 22 years old. Also, do you know how hard it is to be a person from a different country trying to adjust to America? So she's a new artist, 22 years old, trying to adjust to America. And I don't know where you guys are angry and keep making think pieces about a bitch that barely speaks.
Tyla, in response to Almond Wiggins, then briefly changed her Twitter bio to entitled Uppity African, claiming the insult like the South African she is. The rest of South Africa followed suit, making videos calling themselves Uppity Africans, as well as changing their bios across social media. People started making merch like necklaces, t-shirts, and hoodies. Showmax also created a playlist of African shows entitled Uppity African.
Just so scrolling through Showmax, look at the category, Uppity Africans. They were so quick, but I'm here for it. Uppity Africans unite.
South Africa once again displayed their support for Tyla. Social media mostly centers around Western politics and Western creators and influencers. Many people around the world feel suffocated by the fact that some Americans impose their politics on the rest of the world. There are some Americans who do not understand that there is a world outside of the US with their own historical context and political landscapes. There are some of them that do not realize that the world does not revolve around their country. The one drop rule is unique to the US. The one drop rule was created to ignore the sexual assault of black slaves and to refuse to acknowledge the children that were the product of it. In Africa and Europe, mixed people are not classified as black. For example, in the UK, they refer to mixed people as mixed, and in Nigeria, they refer to them as half caste. Some black Americans want to claim mixed people as black, but become upset when they take black opportunities and become the representation for black people. Specifically in Africa, being black is more than just your skin color. You also have to belong to one of the native tribes in that country. For instance, in South Africa, we have the Bantu tribes like Zulu and Xhosa. It's not just I am black, it's I am black and Xhosa, I am black and Zulu, which means that each Bantu tribe has its own culture, its own traditions, and its own history. So it's not just I am black. There is an extra step of identification that comes with blackness in Africa. African black culture is multicultural, whereas, for instance, black American culture in the US is a monoculture. Mixed also doesn't just refer to white and black mixes. For biracials, it can be Indian and white, Asian and black, Asian and white, Indian and black, black and Arab, Indian and Arab, etc. For multiracial people, it can be any sort of mixture. Mixed people should be allowed to have their own spaces because mixed people have different experiences compared to monoracial people. Saying someone is colored, mixed, biracial, multiracial, Creole, etc. is not to diminish black people or say that they are better than them. It simply acknowledges every race the person is mixed with. It's not fair to recognize one part of yourself and deny the other parts. Yes, Tyla is black, but she's also Indian, and she's also white. She's simultaneously all these races at once, and she's allowed to acknowledge everything she is mixed with. She doesn't have to pick a side. I feel there were some Americans who did not do research and gave ignorant and ill-informed opinions about this controversy due to their lack of understanding of the cultural and historical context in South Africa and Southern Africa. Some of them are entitled and can't see past their own nose. In an age where we have so many resources, they are choosing to be ignorant. They are choosing not to learn. Many people went out of their way to try and correct some of them, but they chose not to listen. And some of them were being very nice about it. All you had to do was pick up your phone, go to Google, type in colored people, click on Wikipedia, and read. It is that simple. We need to normalize doing research and understanding the full story before forming an opinion to avoid speaking out of ignorance. What have we learned from this video? Number 1. Do research before giving an opinion about a topic or situation. All of these controversies surrounding the diaspora would have been completely avoided if people had just done the proper research. before sharing their opinions. Instead, people jump to conclusions and assumptions. Number 2, respect everyone's racial and cultural identities. Number 3, racial and cultural contexts differ in different places. And lastly, number 4, stay away from Twitter. Majority of these controversies occurred because of Twitter. I do not understand why anyone would willingly use that app. It is filled with a cesspool of hateful, bitter, and angry people who are constantly looking for someone to cancel and someone to drag. People on Twitter are incredibly unhappy and they need to go to anger management because why every 2 business days are you dragging someone? Some of them clearly need to go to therapy and go outside and touch some grass. These controversies is mostly an online conversation and people in real life probably don't even care. I would like to shout out the South Africans who went out of their way to defend Tyla. I will warn others, do not criticize any South African unfairly because the whole country will feel disrespected. We believe in Ubuntu, and even if we fight amongst ourselves, we will always be ready to defend one another. In part 3 of this episode, we will discuss Tyla's career, her humble beginnings, and her rise to fame. Make sure to check out part 1 if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll chat again in part 3.